Zach is back, and it's October 30th right now, and Halloween is tomorrow. So if you guys don't have a good selection of horror movies to watch this Halloween, what are you guys doing? I have a selection of good horror movies for you that you might want to watch. Now, I try to select these movies because they're either underrated or overlooked, so here are the top 10 overlooked or underrated horror movies of 2019. A lot of these horror movies weren't made in 2019, some of them are pretty old. These movies, though, deserve recognition because they are fantastic, so please watch them. Starting off with number 1, and I'm kind of cheating while I'm saying this, but it's VHS 1 and 2. VHS 1 and 2 is actually a collection of short stories that are tied together with its own short story, if that makes any sense. Basically, the short story that links all the other mini short stories together is these guys break into this house and they need to collect a VHS tape. They're just basically a bunch of thugs, they're robbers, basically. When they break into the house, they find a guy who's dead inside, and they find a collection of VHS tapes. And all these VHS tapes are like really sketchy, and they're all kind of like mysterious, you know, kind of creepy, mysterious. And basically, as they're looking for this VHS tape that they were, you know, hired to get it, or whatever, because they were hired to get this stuff, and they're basically just burglars, they're going through these VHS tapes, and they keep seeing freaky shit on the TV, and they're all these mini short stories that all lead up to this grand narrative of this other short story, if that makes any sense. And it's really cool, it's actually really scary. I like how there's different directors for each short film, and it just ties into just a really, really good horror film, especially for October. Number 2 is The Woman in Black, or at least Woman in Black 1, don't do 2 because 2 sucks. Our main character in this one is a lawyer played by Harry Potter. He's a widow grieving over his lost wife. Because he's a lawyer, he has to go do lawyer things, and basically he has to do this lawyer thing where he has to go and get this guy's affairs in order. Basically, he was a deceased, eccentric, crazy dude that died recently, and he has to figure out stuff about that. He's basically called to a job. Soon after he arrives to this village that he's called to, he finds out that he has to go to this house and look through this guy's stuff and everything. But he doesn't know is that the village is keeping a secret, and this house is actually haunted by this woman in black. You know, right? You know, Woman in Black, it all ties together now. What's really cool about this movie is that the woman in black is hiding in almost every scene in the movie. So it's really fun playing I Spy, trying to look for her. You're like, okay, where is she? Oh, there she is, right there. Holy crap, I didn't notice that the first time I watched it. So it's really fun doing that. The movie's also very tense. It's very weighty and like depression, and it's just a very creepy, kind of depressive movie, and it really gets into like the October Halloween atmosphere. Another cool thing about Woman in Black is that the location and the atmosphere in the movie is just saturates the whole movie. And I really like the haunted house because it's like on this little island, and the only way to get to it is at a specific time during the day when the shore, I guess you guys, recedes, because the road basically gets covered up by water. So there's a lot of cool little things in this movie. It's very overlooked, and I really like it. The Ritual is a great movie you guys can watch. It's actually on Netflix. You can watch it right now if you have Netflix. The Ritual is about a group of buddies who, after one of their friends died, they kind of group up together and kind of reminisce about their past and everything. So they go on a hiking vacation together. Not my type of vacation, but whatever. So anyways, they go hiking somewhere, it looks like Ireland, and one of the guys either break or twist their ankle severely. Because the walk is so far away, they decide to cut through the forest instead. I don't know if you guys have played The Witcher or read the books The Witcher or anything like that, but there's these creatures called leshings in in their universe, right? Where they almost look like tree-horned creatures. Well, basically, one of those goes and hunts them down in this forest. And it's actually very intense, very creepy, and the way they do it, the way they kind of pull off this creature where he kind of like slides in between trees and stuff like that, where he'll disappear once he goes behind a tree, it's very creepy, very scary. It almost reminds me a little bit of like the video game Slender Man, you know, where you look in one place, he's gone, and then you look, you're like, where is he? And you can't find him. It's a lot like that. It's very creepy, very tense, and I just really enjoyed the movie. It's just a very well, simple, thought out movie, and I like it. The Void. The Void is actually on Netflix, so if you want to watch The Void, you can just go straight to Netflix and click on it. It's right there. It's awesome. It's hard to explain The Void, but I'll just kind of give you the gist of the beginning situation in the movie. The Void is about a group of people get stuck in a police station, and they get stuck in a police station because there's a bunch of cultists outside ready to kill them. So it's kind of like a survival movie. There's a cool mystical element to the movie, too. It's not just about cultists trying to kill people. There's like actually like a magical kind of factor involved. And I don't want to spoil anything for you, but let me try to explain it. The movie is almost like if Lovecraft had a three-way with Clive Barker and John Carpenter. That's the best way I can describe it. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look up the directors. What I like about this movie is the acting's pretty good. It's a very gory movie, so if you're into that kind of gore slasher sort of stuff, it's kind of like that. There's a lot of blood involved in the movie. There's a lot of gross things. I don't want to spoil anything. It's really good. The best part about the movie, though, is that it has phenomenal practical effects. So if you're into practical effects, you like blood and guts and gross things and stuff like that, you'll really like The Void. So definitely go watch it. So Terrifier, right? So Terrifier is about a killer clown hunting down two women. That's basically just the movie, that's it. Super simple but effective, and it's basically a slasher movie. It's just a creepy slasher movie that you can have fun and enjoy. The bad guy, or the monster in this movie, the clown, has more personality than I've seen it in like a lot of other slasher films. So he actually kind of steals the show in my opinion and really kind of drives the movie forwards, and I really, really enjoyed it. So Oculus is about a brother and sister teaming up as adults to prove that there's a killer mirror that kind of effed them up earlier in their childhood. It killed their parents, basically. This mirror can, like, do things with your mind. It can make you, like, hallucinate things. It can take control of you. You can do a lot of other mystical shit that you can't really explain. But they're trying to go ahead and explain it, or at least prove to people that they're not going, like, crazy. What's good about this movie is there's a big focus on mystery in it, and there's also quite a bit of scares and tension built up in this movie, and I really enjoyed that. What I also like about this movie is the main characters are actually quite smart in it. It's not like they fumble around like other horror cliche kind of characters do. Like, they thoroughly actually thought this plan out and tried to figure out how to prove how the mirror is, like, magical and trying to kill people and stuff like that. And I like how they actually put that in the movie. It doesn't feel like you're just watching two retards, you know, like, try to prove this mirror exists as a like a monster or whatever. Like, they actually put a lot of thought and time and effort into it, and they still get the shit into the steak. So I really enjoyed that. Like, thank you, movie, for like not making people completely dumb. From Dusk Till Dawn is actually a very, very interesting movie because it takes you in directions you're not like expecting, especially if you just go into the movie not like thinking it's a horror movie. From Dusk Till Dawn is about two brothers that are criminals are trying to make it across the border into Mexico because, you know, they're wanted men. They meet up with another group of people that are basically just a family that live in a camper, and they're just kind of traveling the world, doing whatever they want to do. And they basically put a gun to their head and it's like, you're going to make us go across this border. So the movie's pretty good. It feels more like a heist sort of movie, you know, where people are trying to escape the U.S. into Mexico because they're wanted criminals. But as they get to a specific bar in Mexico, the movie completely changes. Basically, you find out that this bar is actually run by a bunch of vampires, and they kill people and eat people, and they drink their blood. But it's not like the normal vampires. It's like these effed up, like, monster vampires. They're not like the classy ones where they sip on wine and, ooh, yeah, I really like this blood. They're like the fucked up ones that, you know, don't take any shit, and they'll, like, rip your head off and, like, drink the blood out of your neck and shit like that. So, like, the crazy ones. One of the best things about this movie is that they do things in a horror movie that you wouldn't expect. Like, things that are just so fun and so different. It's hilarious. For example, you know, like a lot of characters in horror movies will be like, what are these creatures? Like, what are these things? I don't know what these things are. In this movie, they're just like straight up like, these are fucking vampires. Like, we gotta get rid of these vampires. It's the only way to get out of here is to kill vampires. Like, they straight up say, they're like, these are fucking vampires the first time they see them. And it's the funniest thing that, like, they acknowledge that these are just like creatures that they've heard of before. As in other movies, it's almost like in their universe, they've never heard of these creatures. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Another cool thing, too, is that the way they fight these creatures, they, like, get, like, water guns blessed with holy water, and they use shotguns that have, like, a piece of wood attached to it, and they use it as a shield so they can go, like, block and then shoot, block and then shoot. It's really fun. It's kind of a goofy sort of ending to I guess he's like a kind of a heist sort of movie, and it's just an all-around fun time, especially for October. So, before I even get into this movie is the most fucked up movie you'll ever see in your whole goddamn life. Like, it's just one of the most effed up movies. Now, let me go ahead and give you like a little bit of a breakdown of this movie, because personally for me, I don't like movies that are like torture porn sort of movies, kind of like Saw, like, because a lot of them are very brainless and they don't have a spine to them. It's almost like they just want to be shocking, which, by the way, a Serbian film is the most shocking movie you'll ever see. But it has a backbone to it, and it actually has kind of more depth to it than a regular standard torture porn movie. So I'm just kind of getting that out there before I go into the movie. Basically, the movie is about a retired porn star that is just kind of hanging out with his family and everything like that. And one of his buddies comes up to him and says, okay, well, there's this new director somewhere, and if you shoot a scene with this director, you'll be set up for life. They'll give you, like, everything you need. You only have to shoot one film, and you won't have to work a day or think about a job in your entire life. He's like, okay, let me talk to him. So you end up figuring out that this director, he directs snuff films, which, if you don't know what a snuff film is, it's where they kill somebody on camera. So it's a really messed up movie, and they get into some fucked up shit. And this will, like, well, let me just tell you, this will make girls, if you watch this movie, this will make girls turn into women, it will make boys turn into men. It is like a really fucked up, messed up movie. But the thing is I watched this movie like 10 years ago, right? And I still remember this movie like almost every scene. That's how like crazy it is and how memorable it is. And a lot of the shots in the movie is very well done. It is like very beautiful in certain things. It's super messed up in other places. It's a really crazy movie. Like, it's probably the craziest movie I've ever seen, to be honest with you. Also, too, the music's pretty cool in it. So there's the whole package there. But I'm just going to tell you, there's some things in this movie. Like, if you're not... You gotta be, like, prepared going into this movie. It's really messed up. They don't show, like, a lot of things, if I could say. Like, you know, lower half of people and stuff like that. They kind of, like, either use fake things and stuff like that. But other than that, it's a really good movie. It is gory. It has some crazy things. I don't even get into it. Like, there's so many things in it. But if you're into that type of stuff, if you're into that gory sort of torture porn sort of stuff, or if you want something that will, like, stick in your mind forever, this movie's the one for you. So Cabin in the Woods is about a group of people who go to a cabin in the woods. Like, you know, crazy, right? And I'm trying to be super general when it comes to this movie, because this movie is a satire on horror movies. And there's a lot of little tongue-in-cheek nudges to horror movies that make other horror movies make more sense, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to be super general. I don't want to spoil anything. This movie, the main narrative of this movie is actually shrouded in a spoiler. So it's hard for me to even explain the rest of the movie without going into spoiler territory. So let me just explain. These people go into a cabin in the woods. There's another entity, I guess you'd say, another entity or a group of people that are spying on this group of people, right? And they are directing things to happen to these people, if that makes any sense. And that's all I can really say about it, but it's such a clever movie. It's one of the most clever horror/thriller movies I've seen, like, ever. It has some, like, really cool cameos in the movie, too. I don't want to get into it. There's a particular cameo at the end where you're just like, holy shit, I didn't know this person was in the movie. But I don't want to spoil anything. This movie, if you go into it blind, you will be completely shocked and amazed by it. It's just a really good, surprising movie that you're not expecting when you go into it. So I'm just going to leave it off at that. Stay Alive. Stay Alive is about a group of friends that play a horror video game, and the way you die in the horror video game is how you die in real life. And I just really like this movie in general. It's kind of a guilty pleasure movie. I like the cast of characters. They have Frankie Muniz in it, and they have that McPoyle brother from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's one of the funnier characters in the movie. And what I like about this movie is that I'm a gamer myself, and I would play the shit out of this game that they're playing. It looks really fun, and I kind of like that aspect out of it, is like, it's a fun game that they're playing, in the movie, and then they have to go through kind of the same scenario, but outside the video game. And I always thought that was just a kind of an interesting thing. I watched the movie like maybe a year ago, and it still is pretty good, and I never thought like why people were giving it such a bad score. It's just a goofy, fun horror movie that you can watch, and it's perfect for this Halloween, especially if you're a gamer. And there you go, you guys. 10 horror movies you guys can watch for Halloween.